Sydney.
I'm Julia.
I'm Abby.
I'm Eliza, and we looked at the effect of kangaroo care on breastfeeding.
Our population was nursing mothers, our intervention is kangaroo care, our comparison is no kangaroo care, and our outcome is breast milk production. To begin our search strategy, we started by using CINAHL. We used kangaroo care and breastfeeding promotion as two subject headings. We were able to find one randomized controlled trial that we could use for this project. After we met with Fred Pond, our Dana librarian, we were able to expand our search by using referenced articles and cited articles from our initial source. He also suggested we use different search terms such as lactation, milk volume, milk expression, and milk production. From this, we were able to expand our search and find another article.
After meeting with our librarian, we were able to find one more credible source, but we still needed two more. Using our key terms and the restrictions of the last 10 years, a nursing journal, and also a research source that was ideally a randomized control trial, it was very hard to find our remaining two articles. After being unable to find our third and fourth articles, my group decided to meet with Dr. Bosick to ask for advice. The main problem we were having was that we would find a great source, but it wasn't from a nursing journal. After discussion with Dr. Bosick, we realized that many of these articles were written by nurses. Due to this affiliation with nurses, we determined that it was okay to use a journal if it was non-nursing, as long as it had this nursing affiliation.
The study I took a look at was the effect of early skin-to-skin contact on mother and preterm infant interaction through the first 18 months of life. This study was a quantitative randomized controlled trial with a special interest in total feeding scores throughout the first 18 months. The purpose of this study is to examine the effect of skin-to-skin contact on mother-preterm infant interaction at 6, 12, and 18 months. This study recruited two groups of women, one from an urban research and teaching hospital and the other from a rural regional hospital. 100 women were randomly selected from 262 who consented to the study. 52 were then randomly assigned to the skin-to-skin contact group and the other 48 to control. The data was collected by videotaping, questionnaires, the NCAS teaching scale, the Bailey Scale of Infant Development 2, and the infant mother total feeding scores. The findings of the study were that mother-patient interaction through the first 18 months were mostly the same in experimental as well as the control group. What was noted in the feeding scores, however, was that the skin-to-skin contact mothers and infants scored higher in the first 6 and 12 months. Long-term effects of this study are not taken, but there is a report from Bogota, Colombia that was cited where the Nursing Child Assessment Feeding Scale was used to measure a mother's readiness to respond to her baby's eating needs. In this experiment, kangaroo mother care infants had a higher score on the scale of maternal sensitivity, which is a subscale of the feeding scale.
In this article, kangaroo care was used to determine the effects on breastfeeding status for mothers and their infants, otherwise known as dyads. This is a randomized controlled trial, making it level 2 evidence. In this study, 66 mothers and their preterm infants were randomly assigned to either kangaroo care or standard nursery care. To measure breastfeeding, the Index of Breastfeeding Status, or IBS, was used. The IBS measures the number of breastfeedings the infant receives compared to the total milk intake. From this study, Kangaroo Care dyads showed greater breastfeeding exclusivity over the 18 months and also showed breastfeeding for a significantly longer duration.
My article compared routine care to immediate skin-to-skin contact following birth. My article was Level 2 evidence. It was a well-designed randomized control trial. The population was 114 women from Iran ages 18 to 35 who were all pregnant for the first time. At the end of the study, 92 of the original 114 women remained. They were split into two groups randomly, a routine care group, which was the control, and a skin-to-skin contact group, which was experimental. In the routine care group, newborns were put under a radiant heater, weighed, and given vitamin K injections immediately after birth, and then they were given to their mothers. In the skin-to-skin contact group, newborns were immediately placed on their mother's chest for 2 hours, and then weighed and given vitamin K injections. As the title indicates, this tested the effect of immediate mother-infant skin-to-skin contact. Although some women dropped out of the study, the women who dropped out did not cause any confounding variables because their baseline data, such as age and level of education, were still similar. There were a couple of different measurement tools used in this research. One of the data collection methods was infant breastfeeding assessment tool. It measured the success in first breastfeeding. Scores were given from 0 to 3 and 4 parameters, including readiness to feed, rooting reflex, latch-on, and suckling patterns. These all directly influence the success of feeding and amount of milk. This tool has been shown to have high reliability. Another assessment that collected data was breastfeeding self-efficacy scale. This determined success by the average time of the first breastfeeding. This was a self-report tool, but it has been shown to have very high internal consistency reliability. All of the results from this research article strongly supported skin-to-skin contact. The data was all statistically significant. The mean time of first breastfeeding initiation was on average 22 minutes for skin-to-skin contact, as compared to over an hour with the routine care group. A t-test revealed a significant difference between breastfeeding self-efficacy scale scores. Success in first breastfeeding and skin-to-skin care group was 57, while routine care group was only 36%. Also, mothers were asked various confidence statements to see if they agreed with them. When mothers were asked if they strongly agreed that, "I know I will have enough milk for the baby," 70% of skin-to-skin care mothers strongly agreed with this, while only 40% of routine care mothers said they agreed. This randomized control trial supports the notion that skin-to-skin contact, otherwise known as kangaroo care, is beneficial to the newborn and mother by increasing both milk and confidence.
My article examined the effect of very early mother-infant skin-to-skin contact compared to standard care on breastfeeding status. This was a randomized controlled experiment that measured infant suckling competency during the first breastfeeding, time to effective breastfeeding, number of breastfeeding problems during the first postpartum month, and breastfeeding status at 1 month post-birth. 20 healthy primiparous mother-infant dyads were randomly assigned by computerized minimization to the intervention group, skin-to-skin contact, or the control group, standard care. This study utilized several measurement tools, including infant breastfeeding assessment tool, index of breastfeeding status, and breastfeeding experience scale. The study found that infants who experienced skin-to-skin contact had higher mean sucking competency during the first breastfeeding and achieved effective breastfeeding sooner compared to the swaddled infants. The study also found that early skin-to-skin contact compared to standard care shows statistically significance and better overall performance on all measures of breastfeeding status and duration. These results support implementation of this safe, promising, and humane intervention for healthy newborn infants during at least the first few hours post-birth. Common strengths in our studies were that all studies were published within the last 10 years, all utilized strong measurement tools, and were all randomized controlled trials.
Some common limitations of these studies include self-reporting, small sample size, lack of a diverse population, and limited long-term studies.
Since nurses play an integral part in patient care post-birth, it is our obligation to promote optimal health outcomes in the clinical setting in regards to both mothers and infants. It is also important to note that Kangaroo care does not require additional staffing or any added costs.
A future research study that could be looked at is the effects of skin-to-skin contact on long-term growth and development of these infants. According to Higgbooks and Anderson, Kangaroo care is a safe and inexpensive intervention that has proven positive outcomes.
Through our research, our group has concluded that Kangaroo care promotes breastfeeding and in turn positively affects the health of both the mother and the infant.